One word that will instantly bring more peace to your life, and it's the word maybe. The next time somebody says something that frustrates you, maybe they're going through a hard time. Somebody sends an email you don't like. Maybe they're overwhelmed. Somebody cuts you off in traffic. Maybe there's a reason they're rushing. Somebody didn't invite you. Maybe I'm not supposed to be there. It's not about letting somebody else off the hook. It's letting yourself off the hook. When you give more benefits of the doubt in your life, you are leaving room enough to keep yourself from grabbing what is unnecessary. It's not about refusing to ignore the bad. It's refusing to let them rob you of what is still good. So try that and follow me.
If you want to become a CEO or COO like me, pivot quickly. Memorize those words, jot them down. Because let me tell you something. One of the times in my career where I would be very clear about what my goals are, I would tell my leaders, folks on my teams, hey, I'm going to be a C-suite by the time I'm 30. And they would give me all kinds of reasons why they felt like that wasn't going to happen. I love limiting beliefs, don't we? And I said, oh, it's not a suggestion. It's not a goal. It's a promise. I'm going to be a C-suite by the time. And they'd be like, oh, Beverly, that's very cute. Because of their pathways and how long it took them to get to those roles. But one thing about me, I don't waste my time. And that does not mean that investing time in businesses is a waste when you make your professional development goals clear and these people are playing in your face. Sometimes folks feel a way that you are ambitious, especially if you are ambitious and young, and ambitious and a woman, and ambitious and a lot of other intersectionalities. And because it didn't happen for them quickly, or whatever the reason is, they feel like they gotta humble you. And so pivoting quickly, did you write it down? Is what has gotten me to where I've gotten to in life, because the moment I realized, oh, okay, we are capping my growth potential here, I only have the conversation a handful of times before I'm looking for that next opportunity. And this applies to relationships too, y'all. Look at my LinkedIn. Go look. And as you're looking, was I a COO by the time I was 30? So go out there and do the damn thing. So you get this offer letter and they have the audacity to tell you that you can't negotiate, that it's fixed. And you know that you deserve better than that. You're walking out of here with something. Hey y'all, my name is Beverly. I'm a chief operating officer. I've scaled operations for over a decade in a ton of different fields. And the first way that you can negotiate outside of just your salary is with PTO. You have scheduled trips that are coming up later on that year. Log those dates down and put them in your Padfolio or put them next to you when it comes time for that offer stage. Because what many candidates do is they will come back and say, hey, you know, I'm excited to be a part of the team. I recognize that perhaps the salary is non-negotiable. What I would like to share though is that I have already allocated PTO that I've gotten approved from my previous institution for these dates for the remainder of the calendar year. And, you know, is there any way that we can incorporate those as part of the offer package outside of the PTO allotment that's available for your institution? The reason this is such a hack is because I've only seen twice in my entire career where a company has been like, meh, like we're not going to honor that. Ultimately, the reason why it is so widely done and a lot of people do it well is because it is a lighter lift often for hiring managers to negotiate PTO with you than it is for them to go back to financial teams, hiring teams, HR, and so on to negotiate back with the numbers that you are asking for, especially if they have a pretty tight budget and they can't wiggle any further. By you being a proactive communicator, you being a collaborator and sharing like, pretty clearly, I don't want this to be included in my PTO. However, I'm still willing to collaborate. Can you work with me here? So many times this has worked again and again and again and again. And it will help you because you get a little extra PTO, Be negotiating. Get this PTO. Get this PTO. Candidates do it all the time. They do it all the time. So go for it and happy negotiating. Have you ever had to hide a real panic attack at work? When you did you take a picture of yourself in the bathroom to document the fact that you were actively having a panic attack during one of the busiest weeks of your company's year? I did. Hi, my name is Beverly. I'm a COO and your Chief Empowerment Officer. So I was responsible for leading this week-long initiative at a company that I worked for. And when I tell you this is a massive week, like we have sponsors, people fly in from all over the country, it's a big thing. However, while I was navigating that, I was also navigating a lot of not so great stuff behind the scenes and also personal stuff that was happening at the same time too. And so something happened at work that really devastated me. And we were on the way to a sports game like 20 minutes after that. So I felt the panic attack coming on, and as it's about to rise, an employee comes in and they're like, hey, Bev, how are you? And I realized like, uh-oh, I'm not okay. Because I'm feeling my eyes like well up with tears while I'm trying to talk to this employee who is so sweet and so nice. And he was like, Bev, I haven't seen you in a while, because he lives out of state and I wanted to talk to him, but I couldn't. So I bullet out of there and I head to the bathroom where I proceed to just heave and cry and try to pull myself together because I was leading everyone to this sporting event. And I don't know what compelled me But I decided to take a selfie. I'm going to put a part of the picture here because I don't want to show the company name, but you can see my face. And what's so funny is that I loved working at this organization. It was like a particular set of circumstances that were happening that were like upsetting to me. So I literally like heaved in the bathroom and then pulled myself together and then went back in and was like, all right, who wants to go to this sporting event? I remember one of my coworkers who he and I were close when we worked there. He was like, Beverly, what's wrong with you? And I'm like, what do you mean? Everything's great. And when we got to the sporting event, he was like, enough. Tell me what's up. So that leads me to the end of this, which really is, if you are somebody who experiences anxiety or has been someone who has experienced anxiety, you are not alone. And it comes up sometimes in ways that unfortunately are very inconvenient and very frustrating. But that does not mean you're weak. It does not mean that you can't hold it together. Your brain will sometimes do what it does when it is reacting to traumatic stimulus, and you will do what you need to do to self-care and self-soothe, and the people who care about you will check in on you. Like me being in that bathroom, I was like, you know what? Work shouldn't make me feel like this. That happened to you this week. Work should not make you feel like this.
I get asked all the time on book recommendations, so I'll give you 3 of them and a surprise one at the end. Number 1 is Never Split the Difference by Chris Voss. It is money, okay? He's a former FBI hostage negotiator. It gives very practical advice. This one's much more tactical, kind of taps into the emotional side of how we argue. It's a great book. This one right here is How to Argue by Jerry Spence. Jerry Spence is a longtime trial attorney, and he's kind of known as this sensei kind of guru guy. He doesn't really give super practical advice, but more gives really principles on how to think and reflect on yourself and kind of examine yourself. And the last one is deeper. It's a nonfiction book. It is Team of Rivals by Doris Kearns Goodwin. It is a whole biography on Abraham Lincoln and how he used principles of civility and communication and stories, and how he dealt with all of the people that were against him, his Republican nominees for president, and how they were all against him, hated him, and then they turned into his most loyal advocates, his best friends, once he invited them all into his cabinet. So it's a wonderful story. And the last one that I'll surprise you with is I am writing a book. Just signed a contract about 2 weeks ago with a publisher in Austin, Texas. I am beyond excited. Never thought this would happen, but title to be determined. Stick around. It's going to be great. Should be released sometime at the end of 2023. Thanks. How to handle bad apologies. From my book, The Next Conversation. Number 1, the no empathy apology. This sounds like, well, I'm sorry that you feel that way. Your response, don't apologize for my feelings. Apologize for what you did or what you said. The excuse apology. This sounds like, I'm sorry, okay? I've just been so